Hello everyone, Sarabia here. We are still a couple of weeks away from distance learning, but I wanted to check in with you with another quick video. As you already know, when school starts again, things are gonna look different. No longer will you rush to come to school each morning and spend more than half the day with your teachers and peers. Instead, we will be interacting through our computer screens just like this. I want to remind you that this is brand new territory, not only for you but for most of your teachers as well. So as we embark on this new journey, I want you to remember to be patient and keep an open mind. While I'm gonna miss interacting with you in person, I'm actually excited about this new opportunity, and I'll give you my thoughts on that at the end of this video. But for now, let's get to it. These are SARABIA'S top 5 tips for making a great impression on your video meetings. Now, I'm not gonna get into how to use the actual programs or platforms. You're all tech geniuses, and I know that you already know how to use this stuff, or you'll figure it out pretty easily on your own. Instead, I want to give you some easy to follow strategies so you can do great not only in my class, but with your other teachers as well. Here we go. Number 1, lighting. Thinking about light is essential. It's the fundamental tool of all video and photography work. Because of the way cameras are made, they tend to compensate for really dark or really bright elements, and a webcam is especially sensitive to both. So you absolutely have to avoid windows or really bright lamps in your background. You will either get a really dark image with a lot of grain, this is also called visual noise, or you will get an image that is blown out, meaning that the white overpowers the image. Both look ugly and they distract from your video. If you only have natural light, make sure that you face that light. Even better, if you trim a bit to get 2/3 of your face exposed to the light, you'll get a much better image. If you have blinds, you can play with how much light is allowed on your video. If you don't have natural light but you have a lamp, use that to light your space. Put the lamp at a 45-degree angle from where you are sitting so it lights 2/3 of your face. This gets you some really nice flattering shadows. Play with the distance and the angle of the lights. Even a few inches makes a huge difference. You want a good balance between the bright areas and the shadows of your image. That's why a 45-degree angle works great. Check out this example of how light and shadow affect the look of your face, depending on where the light's positioned and how close it is to you. Also, light obeys something called the inverse square law, meaning that if you double the distance, the apparent brightness of your lamp diminishes considerably. At twice the distance, your light will only appear a quarter as bright. Number 2, space and background. I know this is gonna look very different for everyone. Your home situation is completely different from other people's, but if you have the opportunity, try to designate a space that you will use for your meeting. Make sure that there are few distractions and pay attention to what your camera can see. For example, you probably don't want your teacher to see your messy bed or your messy room. Avoid inappropriate or ugly stuff on your background, like pictures, posters, things like that. Don't point your camera towards doors where people might come in or out. That can get a little distracting. Be aware of mirrors that show things that maybe you don't want us to see. A blank wall works okay, but if you have a part of your house that looks interesting, then try to use that, so long as your space allows it. Consider what a picture of the setup would look like. If you can, make your space interesting. Add things to your background like books, plants, stuff you're interested in. Just things that make it look cool. Also, avoid using the zoom background filter. Honestly, it's just ugly and it looks pretty unprofessional. Number 3, angles. This one's actually pretty easy. Most of you will be using Chromebooks or some type of laptop, and these are typically tiny, so it's easy to be right on top of it with your screen facing up to your face. Trust me, this is not a flattering angle. You wouldn't take a selfie like that. So make sure you avoid having the computer so close to you that the screen faces upwards. Instead, push your computer away from you a little bit. If the meeting doesn't require typing, you can even put your computer on a box in order to make the camera be more at your eye level. Number 4, sound. During an online meeting, sound is incredibly important. I'm not talking about the microphone. You basically have to go with the technology you have, and most of you will not have access to a fancy microphone like what I'm using. What I mean is different. You want to be conscious of the sounds around you. Ideally, you want to be in a quiet space with no distractions. I know this is not always possible, So one thing you can do is to mute your microphone unless you are participating in the discussion. All platforms allow you to do this, and it helps keep the conversation clear. If you have headphones, it's a great idea to use them. Number 5, participation. Finally, this is the most important. The point of an online meeting is to create a space for constructive conversation so that you can interact with your teacher, ask questions, and learn through discussions. Make sure that you are attentive to what everyone else is saying. Not all of your sessions with me will happen through video, but when we do have discussions, they are very important. When you have something valuable to contribute, don't stay silent. Distance learning is going to be different, but as I said before, I'm actually pretty excited. The truth is, while I always enjoyed school when I was younger, sitting in a classroom for half the day was not always my thing. I actually learned a lot more when I had a project to work on and I could explore ways of solving problems on my own. And my class is going to be very much like that. We are still going to meet to have discussions, but I'm not planning on making you sit through an hour and a half each day just to hear me talk through a webcam. It's actually pretty boring. My intention for this class is to work on meaningful and fun projects. We're going to learn how to solve problems. We will learn stuff that is exciting, interesting, and actually useful to you. But it will also be challenging. I'm going to push you just like I did back in class. We won't have all the fancy equipment that we had in our studio, but we have the largest repository of human knowledge ever compiled at our fingertips. And we have our minds and our creativity, and that's really all we need. I really can't wait for what's to come. As always, be healthy, be creative, be awesome. This is Sarabia signing off.